Michael Stapleton graduated from East High School. Michael Stapleton is the manager in industrial parts for some company, someplace, somewhere. He's a Army veteran, and he's the legislative director of the Libertarian Party of Colorado. One good thing about the Libertarian Party of Colorado is that they are staunchly against the death penalty. 100% against the death penalty. And this is the reason why I can half-stand libertarians. I can only half-stand them. When it comes to social issues, many times they are more liberal, more principled than the Democrats are. I'm not a politician, Michael Stapleton says, just a member of the community with concerns about the proper role of government in our community. Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that. I believe my business experience in budget and resource management can play a role. First of all, you are a politician. By fucking definition, you're running for political office. That's a politician. So I hate it when the fucking politicians do that shit. The reason why politicians say they're not a politician is so that the bad association with, they don't get associated with it, but they're straight up lying to you. They're straight up bullshitting you. The things that I don't like about politicians is that they bullshit. They get up there and they sound like Hillary Clinton. I will fight for you because I care about you and your kids, and I will one day be the greatest champion for the poor. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Talk to me like a regular person. Fucking level with me. Be authentic. Talk to me like a person. So, Michael Stapleton, you are a politician. You're a huge politician. You've been working with the Libertarian Party of Colorado for quite some time, so you've been in politics for quite some time, and now you're running for office. How the fuck are you not a politician? Michael Stapleton is the very definition, the embodiment of a politician. And then so would his competitors. He's running against Tommy Farrell, and he's running against Bob Schilling. So District 1 on the north side, Bob Schilling's seat. He's the incumbent. Bob Schilling is the incumbent, and Tommy Farrell and Michael Stapleton are running, against Bob, and I guess they're all running against each other. So you have a three-way horse race here, and this is going to be a fascinating conversation, I'll be honest with you. So they're politicians too. Bob Schilling's a politician, Tommy Farrell's a politician, Charlotte Perez is a politician, Mark Aliff is a politician, Steve Nolrocky's a politician, even the police chief. He's got to do some public relations work. So accept the label. You're a politician, that's okay. Be a good politician. I don't mind. I want a principled politician that stands and that's going to be a fighter for working class values. Michael Stapleton, I don't think he believes in unions. Jason Munoz is a politician. Aisha Jiran's a politician. They're all politicians, and it's okay. Be a good politician. Be a young politician. Be a bold politician. Be a principled politician. But you're a politician. Realize that. Understand that. And don't fucking lie to me. Don't fucking lie to me. Don't bullshit me. That's what politicians have been doing for years. Don't bullshit me. So since Michael Stapleton is a libertarian, that means Tommy Farrell and Bob Schilling are running against a political philosophy, a well-defined political philosophy. Off the top of my head, I know that libertarians are against the war. They're in favor of marijuana and all drugs. They're against the war on drugs. They are for personal freedom. So they're in favor of prostitution. Michael Stapleton is a free market anarchist. He believes that the corporations should just run roughshod, so just be like Las Vegas, right? He believes in personal freedom. So essentially, Michael Stapleton, he wants prostitutes and crack stores all over the place. He wants mountains of prostitutes and mountains of crack for everybody. What do you get with the Michael Stapleton administration? Well, you would get free crack pipes and a free pass to the local brothel. So crack and prostitutes for everybody, right? So crack and prostitutes for everybody. He's also against universal education. So when it comes to social issues, many times he's right. So when it comes to the war on drugs, he's absolutely right with the war on drugs. My real concern about his belief in personal freedom is where are those brothels and where are those crack stores going to go? Where is that red light district going to be? He's not going to let it be in District 1, though he could, but my guess is it's going to go into poor areas. It's going to be re-gentrified, and then that's how they're going to get rid of the poor, by setting up a big casino with prostitutes and crack and heroin and meth for everybody. for legal consenting adults. So Michael Stapleton would probably say that he wouldn't make a determination, but I guess that's a good question for him. If a brothel was to come into town, would you give them a permit? Would you give them a license to, sell? And then if they wanted to sell crack, would you give permits out to crack stores too? Because what I believe Michael Stapleton, what I think that he would say is that, people are free to do as they want to do, as they choose to do, which he's correct on. When it comes to social issues, when it comes to economic issues, he doesn't believe in government spending. He is such an anti-tax zealot. He's against universal education. So he's against kindergarten, preschool, Head Start. He just cannot stand Head Start. He just cannot stand middle school and high school, which would be perfect for his free market anarchist schemes, because once nobody has any education, once nobody has, knows how to read and write, well, there's going to be plenty of employees to work at his crack and prostitute stores. So thank God Michael Stapleton isn't running for school board. A lot of times you've been seeing that, anti-EPA being the head of the EPA, and it's so Orwellian, right? If you're against the thing, by occupying it, you essentially nullify it. So the biggest thing that I would like for Tommy Farrell and Bob Schilling and all of Pueblo, really, to understand that this campaign, when they run against Michael Stapleton, they're not just running against a man, they're running against a political philosophy, a well-defined political philosophy. So Bob Schilling, the onus, the efforts will be on Bob Schilling and Tommy Farrell to define themselves, to very well define themselves, because libertarians are well-defined. They're running against a political philosophy, and they should know that, and the way to combat that is by defining who they are and what they actually believe. By very clear, here's my stance on this issue, here's my stance on that issue. Michael Stapleton would call himself a conservative, but to be honest, he would change things. He would get rid of public education if he could. He would get rid of all government. There's actually Grover Norquist, he says that he wants government to be so small that he can drown it in a bathtub. He wants no government. And it makes you think of the anarchist, I thought it was Jefferson, but maybe it's Henry David Thoreau, but one of them had said that the government which governs least, the best government is the government that governs least, and then the next step is one that doesn't govern at all. So that's Michael Stapleton. He would like for the government not to run at all, and then we just all get along. So when it comes to civil liberties, when it comes to personal freedoms, when it comes to ending the war on drugs, I hope he's against the jail issue. If Michael Stapleton is against the jail issue, we already got a jail, we need treatment centers. Half the jail is already filled up with a bunch of nonviolent drug users, even homeless people who have got personal amount of hard drugs are going to our jail. They don't need to be in jail. Well, first of all, they're fucking homeless. They need a home, right? They need a chance. Give them a chance at life to begin with. That's where the money should be spent, but he wouldn't believe in that. Christopher Hitchens, he said on the Libertarian Party, he said that it was actually pretty remarkable that there's a political party that's in the United States of America that says we need to be more selfish and more greedy. He is an advocate, he is a follower of Ayn Rand. So Ayn Rand is his personal political philosopher, his hero, his philosopher hero is Ayn Rand, whatever, the fountainhead. When it comes to the war, he's right. He should be against the war, and I hope he is, like Gary Johnson. Gary Johnson was a libertarian, and Gary Johnson got 5% of the vote here in Pueblo last November. So he's against the war, he's for personal freedom. So my guess, the government that Michael Stapleton would believe in would be the government that allows the corporations to operate and run roughshod on the rest of us, which is actually corporatism. But he would set the entire system up, my guess, like Milton Friedman, have all these different corporations who get police protection, who need jails to throw anybody in jail that might hurt them. So it's all about the corporation, not so much about working class people, not about unions, not about the average citizen, but let's protect the corporations and allow them to function in society. So I think he would want some courts, he would want some police, he would want a jail. Now, if he's for a treatment center, that means he's for government spending to give a shit about people, so that would be nice to hear. If he said he was in favor of a treatment center, it would be nice to hear him say he's in favor of any government spending on any decent thing. We got a zoo here. Is he going to be in favor of funding the zoo? He's well defined, but it would be interesting to see exactly where his line of demarcation is. Where does he think government is necessary, and where does he think government needs to be out of our lives? He's going to say that the fascist, the police state, we're going to need the police state, but he's going to cut the austerity measures. He's going to cut the health care. He's going to cut the education. He's going to cut the public works. He's going to cut the treatment centers. He's going to cut the zoos. He's against government. He's against government spending. He is such an anti-tax zealot. If he could just bankrupt the government and everybody get zero, he would be okay with that. He would be okay with that. Like I said, except for the bare bones government that would at least allow corporations to do as the fuck as they please. Corporations can do as the hell as they please. That's free market anarchy. He believes in a free market anarchy society. So no health care, no education. Everybody must fend for themselves. This is going to be tribalism, and, you know, he's half right on some things, and on the other half, on economic issues, he's 100% wrong. Government should help people. If they're not helping people, why is there a government? Now, if strange mayor passes, he's not going to have any decision on hiring and firing. He's not going to have any decision on budget. It's all going to be the mayor, so he'll have to just, you know, basically kiss the mayor's ass, and maybe one or two issues he'll have to stand up, you know, and make his stand if they don't agree on it. But he'll only get to pick only a handful of issues to disagree with them if he still wants to work with them, so they have to cordially argue. But, you know, if strange mayor passes, he's not going to have any decision making when it comes to the budget. It's going to come from the mayor, and so he's going to be, you know, the second in line, so he won't have much say-so, which would be a good thing. So Michael Stapleton is going to hit you with small government. He's going to say, we need a smaller government. Government's too big. He's going to say, we're going to have less taxes. There's too much taxes. We need to be against taxes. Now, I think there's balance in all things. I want low taxes too, but I also want government spending in terms of the things that we need. We got parks here, right? We pay for parks here. We pay for streets. We pay for, you know, fire, police, and EMS, and, you know, lots of different services out there. But he would be against the public parks. He would be against any healthcare education spending, anything that helps the life or the brain, anything that the government would provide for those two things. That's a bad thing in terms of getting air conditioners for the schools, but when it comes to the air conditioners for the Elmwood golf course, that's a good thing, right? You don't want to, why are we going to spend all that money for the country club elite, you know, $72,000 worth of an air conditioner? They said one air conditioner for $72,000. That don't even sound right to me. Maybe there's a bunch of them, but how many, 400 or 500 air conditioners we could have got for each one of these rooms in the school with that kind of money? So I would have rather taken that $72,000 and helped the schools out with their air conditioning, but Michael Stapleton would be against both of those things. No air conditioning for the Elmwood golf course and no air conditioning for the schools. Michael Stapleton is against the buses. He's against the zoo. He's against the public parks. He's against health care. He's against education. Universal education, elementary schools. He doesn't care when Span Elementary closes down. It doesn't bother Michael Stapleton when schools close down. In fact, he looks at it as more money he's going to have to save in his pocket. He thinks of it as more money that he's going to get in his pocket. He's saving money because he don't have to waste it on your damn kids. He don't want to care about your health. He don't want to care about the education of your kids. The reason why I'm in favor of public education, for one thing, is so that there's not a lot of dumb people out there. You know, why should we sit as a society? It's good to have an educated population. In fact, that's one of the ways to have a great that's the reason why Denmark is such a great country. Denmark is the happiest country in the entire world. And the things that businesses want is they want a highly intelligent, highly educated field of workers to hire from. So if we're trying to encourage these high-profile, these, you know, organic or green, these socially responsible corporations to come in here and to provide some jobs, well, we need a high standard of living. We need a well-educated population, and those are the two main things. A well-educated population so they can hire lots of people for their company, and then also a high standard of living because they're going to live here. And since they're going to live here, they're going to like, you know, since they're going to live here, they're going to like the public parks. They're going to like the public parks. And until you give everybody a car, we're going to have to keep the buses. with the zoo, there's some questions about, keeping animals in captivity, but then sometimes they're the last two animals on the planet because of, people wiping them out, because some people, poachers, are trying to drive some of these animals into extinction. I think zoos are a good learning process. I like a zoo. I like the zoos. I'll admit it, I'm a liberal who likes the zoo, okay? I like the zoo. Sue me. So he's basically against anything that will help the working people, the working classes. It's all about the corporation. So if Michael Stapleton was running all of Pueblo City, you need to incorporate yourself so then you would actually get some legal protections. It's like, wait, you're just a person? Okay, you don't matter. Wait, you're a corporation? Hold on. Hold the horses. Hold the phone. Hold that door. But thank God, Michael Stapleton and, District 1, this is only for District 1, it's only one city council seat out of 7. So it's only, he'll be one voice out of 7. So if he was to win, hopefully his voice would be very diluted. But since they're running against a political philosophy, you're not just running against the man. You're running against the political philosophy, and he's well defined. But some of the few things that I know about the other two candidates, Bob Schilling is the current city councilman. There's been a lot of folks that have hit him on environmental concerns, though I have heard that he was interested in solar power. But he does seem like he's all about Black Hills and keeping things as they are. There's two things I want to mention about Bob Schilling. I think Bob Schilling can be moved. I think the people can, say, hey, Bob, this is what we want, and then Bob, I think, would listen to that. And so that's a good thing. That's something that he should be applauded for. The other thing about Bob Schilling is continuity. So Steve Noraki is essentially grooming him to, take over the court. It seems like to me, a lot of times you'll have Bob Schilling who's sitting in the main chair. He's sitting in the main chair. Bob Schilling's, always giving honors and passing this resolution and that resolution. So he kind of knows the process of government. So in terms of continuity, in terms of are we just going to, strip the current government, have nobody there? We're going to have continuity anyways, right, with Atencio, Aguilera, and Nickel, but we're not going to have continuity with Bob Schilling's seat. I think Michael Stapleton and Tommy Farrell could learn a lot about the processes of how Pueblo City works, but this is how Pueblo City works under the current city manager style of government. That's how it works right now. So if Strange Mayor gets in there, well, that just changes everything, and really nobody needs to do any of the old ways. Everybody's doing everything different. So Strange Mayor is going to uproot the government. Everything's going to change with Strange Mayor. Everything except for the poor will continue to get poor. The people in power will continue to have power. That'd be, so everything changes in terms of the form of government, but nothing changes in terms of who still has the power. And I believe in democracy. I believe in democracy. I don't think the problem is we need to rearrange the chairs on the Titanic. I think we don't have enough democracy. If we get less than a 50% turnout rate, then that means there's no democracy to begin with, and everybody that gets elected doesn't have democratic legitimacy, but we're going to keep on going because we don't do redo elections, right? We don't say, hey, we didn't get a majority winner, and we haven't been getting a majority winner. Strange Mayor actually does have one runoff election, instant runoff voting. You could do instant runoff voting, which would be 5 elections in one time. So Strange Mayor does 2 elections at least, maybe 3 elections, so that's very expensive and cumbersome. With instant runoff voting, you get the runoff effects. You still have runoff elections, essentially, because you rank them. So number 1, Jill Stein. Number 2, Gary Johnson. Number 3, whoever. And if Jill Stein doesn't win, then my vote gets redistributed to Gary Johnson. If Gary Johnson doesn't get elected, then my third vote, my third choice, that's where my vote will go to. So that's ranked choice voting. That's instant runoff voting. So it's a runoff system. It's the best goddamn system that we have for our winner-take-all system. Unless we're going to change to a parliamentary system, I don't mind the winner-take-all thing as long as we got instant runoff voting. If we don't have instant runoff voting, it's not a fair election. It's not fair. And not only is it the greatest, most democratic, most fair way of doing things, it encourages people to come out and encourage people to respect each other. And our winner-take-all, essentially you pick your horse and then you shit on everybody else. That's why a lot of Democrats didn't see that Jill Stein was a really good fucking person. Jill Stein was a principled person who would have fixed all the major structural issues that our society is faced with right now. But instead, they'd rather disparage a good person like Jill Stein, not because she's a bad person, but because she dared to run against the Democrats. But she wasn't just running against the Democrats, right? She was running an election. So she was actually running against everybody, including the Libertarians. So what's my point? My point is, let's get some instant runoff voting now, Pueblo. Let's get some instant runoff voting. And let's unite. And what I know about Tommy Farrell is he's young, he's an engineer, so he's, very smart when it comes to street lights. He's a street light engineer. He's young, he's gay, which is okay. I don't mind. That says to me that he's pro-gay marriage, and I would think that he would be easier to approach. So how approachable is Michael Stapleton? How approachable is Bob Schilling? So Tommy Farrell is young and vibrant, and he believes in solar power, so he's pro-solar power. He said he would try to get some solar power trees here. Tommy Farrell said that he would protect the marijuana industry, and he also questions the war on drugs, so he's for a treatment center. So that's kind of the two things that I know about Tommy Farrell. He's young, he's gay, and he's for solar power. So both Bob Schilling and Tommy Farrell need to really articulate So I would encourage Bob Schilling and Tommy Farrell to really work on their platforms, develop a nice platform, and so that way we know exactly what we're getting. I would like to know from each one of these candidates, what is their wall? Donald Trump, he ran on the wall. That was his main issue. So if you vote for Donald, you're definitely in favor of that wall. So that was his main issue. So what is their wall? What is Bob Schilling's wall? What is Michael Stapleton's wall? What is Tommy Farrell's wall? What will we guarantee? What will we definitely get with the Tommy Farrell administration or Tommy Farrell city council as city councilman? One quick disclaimer, I don't actually think Michael Stapleton wants crack stores and brothels all over the place. I do believe that he believes in prostitution, and he believes in we're allowed to be heroin addicts if we want to be, which I actually agree with. I actually agree with his stance on personal freedom, but he wouldn't pass out a bunch of crack pipes or free passes to the brothel because that's government spending, and he wouldn't spend any money. So he doesn't care about that. He doesn't care for you. He doesn't want you to go to the brothel. He doesn't want you to go get your crack. I mean, he cares, I guess. He wants you to make good decisions in your life, but he's not going to give you a free pass to the crack store or to the brothel. So no crack pipes, no anything, really, just a bunch of, it's a police state, so you're going to have a court system and cops, and you're going to have a jail, which we already have all those things. And so he's going to cut everything else out. That's what we're going to have. We're going to have jails, and we're going to have police, and we're going to have the court system, and that's it. But if Michael Stapleton was to design society as he saw fit. So I was using some rhetoric there, but it was to highlight his position on the war on drugs. Michael Stapleton is right when it comes to the war on drugs. I trust Michael Stapleton more to be opposed to the war on drugs currently, right now, than I do Tommy or Bob. And prostitution is the oldest profession, so I think that you should regulate it, right? I mean, that those industries do eventually come in slowly, just like we did with marijuana, slowly unravel these things and highly regulate them so that way, it's not just a big fucking crack fest. It isn't just one big, STD fuck fest or crack fest. He doesn't want crack pipes. He's not going to pass crack pipes out to you, but all those people who want crack, all those people who want a prostitute, he believes in your right to personal freedom. And he's right about it. Consenting adults, we should have a right to our own body. When did we lose the right to our own body? When did that happen? What day did that happen when we lost the right to our own bodies? Are we not Americans? We don't own our own bodies? Of course we own our own bodies. Of course we do. He is in favor of prostitution on principle, and he is in favor of you being allowed to do all the drugs in the world. Any drugs that you want to do, it's your body, so, have at it, hoss.